Hey, it's W5HRO. Well, I thought I'd give another update here on my new ham shack. This will be video number 7, I believe. I just recently did a part 6 in the longest time in forever, so this will be part 7. I did get everything rearranged here. This is good enough for the rest of the winter, I think. I got one more thing to do. I've got a 10 6-meter Moxum beam up on the roof, and that's the rotor for it, so I need to move. And these cables here, that's all gonna get changed. That's just a temporary routing. So anyway, I'll clean that up soon. But what I wound up doing was to be able to get everything to work like I wanted, since I don't have a shelf above the desk. And this is actually better anyway, I think. I rack mounted my TS590SG, and I found a really heavy duty wooden cabinet. The only thing is, I wish it was black painted instead of the thin black veneer, because the veneer was coming off and I had to glue it in a couple places. But it's solid again now. But the wood, and it's not pressed. It's not pressed board under the veneer. It's like real heavy solid wood. Why they did that? They just should have painted it. But it's nice. It's a 4U rack. So the Kenwood rack is 3U, and this pile line conditioner is 1U. So it's 3 plus 1 is 4, right? Duh, simple math. But I added this pile line conditioner because what it has is it's got a circuit board. It's a pretty good size rack. It goes all the way to about back here. The depth is from like here back to about here. And it has a circuit board. It has RFI EMI filters on every one of the 8 outlets in the back. So I thought that's perfect. And I Velcroed my SDR player receiver, which is how I'm generating this from the Kenwood. Basically what it's doing is it's routing my antenna out through the DRV jack into the SDR's antenna inputs. It's basically what it's doing. That's how it works. And then the SDR playing the display. See where it says stop? You click on stop and you click play, and it turns the live play again. But anyway, but it also has the software, the added on software to it, so you can, the OmniReg, so you can actually control. So I can change my radio bands here. I can control the 590 SG's frequency and band and stuff from here. So that's how I'm doing that. But anyway, there's the Ameritron AL80, and there's the NCC2, and there's the big piece of junk MFJ meter. They look slick. They look real. It's the best looking one anybody makes. But if you look inside the things, man, they're cheesy. But hey, they work, and that's all that really matters. I just need an indicator, so when I'm loading up, I got forward movement and the peak. It works okay. It's fair. They're fairly accurate. Matter of fact, I thought this homebrew transmitter was doing a little over 350 watts on. I thought, because I don't trust these current meters, I'm getting ready to change these soon. As a matter of fact, I need to order these before it's too late, because I don't trust the meters. That's why I was ignoring what the plate current meter was telling me, because I know this one for the screen is screwed up, and the grid one's a little off too. I know those two are off slightly. So, but that plate could be way off, and I don't know. But I found out that little radio junk meter, that Radio Shack meter I had up there all that time when I was working on this thing, it was not accurate. The scale, it was actually the scale that I was using to read it is why. The scale on that Radio Shack meter was just way off. So I took this meter, because I have 2 of these, this meter, and I took my little MFJ, that little small antenna tuner that I had sitting on top of my 590 for a while. It's got the little meter in the center of it. It's an antenna matcher, antenna. It's just a little T network tuner. All 3 of the meters showed the exact same carrier power out, 275 watts. And what I found out is I was getting 190% modulation with the 275, and if I backed it down about 25 watts to about 250, I was getting the full 200%. So if it was up to like 350, it would have been slightly less. But anyway, I'm actually, what it is it's the Zener diode that I selected. I have the OD3 regulator string in there and the one Zener going the ground, on the solid state Zener on the end going the ground to get the exact voltage. I need to increase that value a little bit to get the voltage up just a little higher is the problem. So I just need to tweak that a little bit, because the way I'm going to run this transmitter, I'm going to run it at exactly 300 watts carrier out at about 130% peak modulation. That's how I'm going to run it. It's the old ultra modulation scheme, and it works great. You saw how that, if you go and you watch my last few videos on this transmitter, you saw how that screen current just jumps up like a mother when you're modulating. Because that solved the problem. That was the problem. That's always been the problem with most people's homebrew RF decks when they're trying to modulate them, on AM. They just, it never gets, it's a hard time getting a full 100% or the higher, up to 200% or 150 even. But you have to properly modulate the screen and it solves the problem. But anyway, that's the story here on the shack. You can see how it all came to life here. And the key was the rack mount this radio, and that solved the problem. Also, my Astron power supply, I've got it stacked in the closet. I'm going to put it back in the box. That big Astron, that RS, 35A, that 35 amp supply that with the linear regulators paralleled, that thing was heavy, it would hum. And this rack actually came with a 13.8 volt 35 amp supply. It's also a 35 amp. The guy advertises 12 volts at 30 amp, but they've since then they've upgraded the supplies on the rack, and the rack is 13.8 volts at 35 amps. And it's running right at 14.01 volts, and that's exactly where you want this thing. You want to run these newer Kenwoods, even the old TS440s and 850s. Somebody's tuning up here or something. I need to turn that down. But what was I talking about? Now, see, I lost my train of thought when that I got tired of hearing that heterodyne in there. I don't know what, the guy had a toner, he was tuning up on top of somebody. I'm not sure what that was. But anyway, I guess that's all I have to say. Oh, I did, there's the courier. I don't have the amp hooked up yet. So what I did was I hooked up that Moxum. Right now I just have it plugged in the back of the courier, and I have the squelch set. I did that today when I came home. It'll transmit. But I'll hook it up to the amp this weekend. But there's the PAL VFO. I need a frequency counter over here for this. I have a small one, but it's for the kind you wire up inside of the radio, and I'm not sure it's going to work. I would have to probably tap it off the inside of the radio, and the voltages might be too high because it was designed for solid state radio. So maybe I might need to I do have an old counter out in the garage, but it's really ratty and I don't want to use it. I guess maybe I should find a small freak counter that's just to kind of sit on top of this PAL VFO. That'd be nice. If I could find one just this right size that would just kind of sit on top of it, I could Velcro it on top or something and stick it so it doesn't move, so they're both together maybe. I could do that. But that's my 10-meter radio. And then down here I have my that's that switching supply, that 20-volt switching supply that I'm using, like 3 amps I'm using for the stepper tune box. And this thing over here also, this NCC2 also uses 20 volts. So I'm going to get one 20 amp supply down here. 20 volt supply down here to power up both of these guys to solve that problem. So I'm trying to eliminate stuff, and I'm trying to make the supplies more efficient. And I was going to build a switching supply rack and a cabinet down here. I might do a smaller one with 2 or 3 of those switching supplies with switches on the front panel that I could just turn on whichever one that I need at the time, That'd be nice. But one thing I've realized, I don't know if you can see this is kind of up close here in the room. It's kind of hard, even my phone, if I have to back way up here in the corner by the door here to get this whole thing. But you can see when I originally set up this shack and I brought the desk in here and I decided to mount that map, I realized now that I mounted the map too low. So once I get everything laid out, like finalized, like I'm gonna, leave it, I'll probably, it's probably not going to be until this coming spring. I'll probably go ahead and I'm going to take everything off the desk once I figure it all out, stack it down here on the floor. Then I'm going to pull the desk out and I'm going to raise that map up, get it up high enough. And then I have I'm going to get a couple smaller, like 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10 frames, picture frames with the glass, with the black frame, so they match the matte frame. I'm going to put my ham license, and then probably, I actually have the old flyer. I found the flyer for this old AL80, where it was called the Compact Kilowatt. I was going to put that in a frame. I'll probably put it in a frame and put it below my license. I might put one of the ARRL band charts here or something like that. So anyway, I'm making progress on this, but it's taken me a long time to get to this point. I've got antennas up now, and last year I had the homebrew transmitter on the air. I've been on the air, even on sideband with the 590 SG, and it's all coming together. The only thing is, I've got this is just a part of what I have. I've got tons of equipment. This is just a chunk of it, small chunk of it. What I think I'm probably going to do is, I'm going to make this my rotating receiver spot. And I'll probably, when I get tired of this RME 6900, once I get it all, I still need to do some more work on it. It's not completely finished yet 100%. But once I get it all done and use it probably for maybe a year, 6 months, I'll probably pull it off. Maybe I'll stick my HRO 60 here for, another 6 months to a year. And once I get tired of that, I'll put the NC 303. I'll just rotate the big receiver since I have so many of them. But the problem is I need to go through and recap all of them. So once I get them all updated, all working in 100% order, I'll just start rotating the one here in this position, But I was joking around with one of my other ham buddies, and what I said was, since I got a black theme going, this gray RME doesn't really go with it. I should probably find a 75A4 and a speaker to kind of blend in better. So anyway, that's all I have for now. I just kind of want to show you that I had I've got the shack pretty well going now. So once I get this all figured out and get this 10-meter rig all hooked up and the counter and all that stuff, then I'm going to start working on this homebrew transmitter again. It works. I had it on the air last winter. It's been on the air a couple short times earlier this winter. But I need to do some more work. I do have the big, there's my finger getting over the phone again. Let me do, I probably did a video on this before, but here's the big, where is it? The big Jennings vacuum variable cap that I've needed. This is the one that I couldn't find back in the mid to late 80s when I was collecting the parts for this thing. So I had to find that big Chinese surplus air variable, that king size. It's got too many strays because of the physical size of it and the way I mounted it in there. And this is the one that'll work all the way from, that'll make a 4-400s work all the way up from, 10 meters all the way down to a 160. So, and I got a roller, what do you call it, gear reduction turns counter type thing. And I'm not sure I'm going to use that though, because I was wanting something round. I would rather have a red pointer that moves around slowly as you spin the knob around, but I'll see what I can do. But that's what I needed like 30 some odd, years ago. 35 years ago? Something like that, maybe more, 40. How many years ago was that? I have to count. But anyway, and then I was going to take out the speech amp driver, I was going to do the modification on that and throw in that compression, AVC tube in there. And then put the 6V6s in place of the 6A3s. I'm going to have the two in parallel with the other two in parallel to get a little more power, to be a little more efficient, I think. So, but I think I need to probably finish the RF deck first, because I know there's some efficiency losses. My plan is, with that new vacuum variable cap, to put here in place of the old one that's in here, is I'm just going to make this thing work up to 17 meters. Because this will actually go up to, it'll actually go up to almost, will it go up to 12 meters? It'll hit, this thing will work on up to like 15, I know for sure. But the dial's not going to be accurate. The way you have to tune it, it's going to be out of band. Well, it'll go up to 20. Oh, it'll go up. Oh, I think it'll actually go up higher than that. It'll actually go up above 20 megacycles, I think. But anyway, but I don't care anyway. I'm just going to make it work from, now I can get it working down on 160 again too, so that's great. So it'll work all the way down to 160 again and all the way up to 17 like it's never worked before. So anyway, it barely works on 20 now. It's really tight. That's why I need to change that cap out and fix everything. So I think that's it. I kind of digressed here, but that's kind of the status on the shack and everything that I've got going here. So I just kind of wanted to give an update on the videos here. Like I said, when I get this all done, an update here on the shack. So when I get this all done and get it finalized, I'm going to start doing videos here on the transmitter, the big one again, once I start taking it apart to do those modifications. I should probably go ahead and order those meters first and wait for them to come in, because it takes a little over a month to get those things. I'm serious, they have to put them together at Simpson. So I guess I should probably call them soon and order. I don't have to call them, I just order them online. There's 2 or 3 places that get them, so it's not really an issue. So that's all for now. This is W5HR NNO 73s.